What is going on, everybody? Before you freak out, if you just click on this video and you're a new viewer, first of all, shout out to you. I appreciate you clicking. Stay around, stick around. I've got some really cool stuff that I want to talk about. So all of you competitively minded players, both singles and especially doubles players, are probably looking at these buffs and are thinking, what is this guy smoking? Why did he give Iron Hands, essentially plus 50 overall in his bulk? What is he smoking? Filter? Oh my God, what is going on? So this is a ROM hack where every single Pokemon is heavily reworked. You can find more information about it after this video. Don't click off yet because it'll mess up the watch time. Please don't do me like that. All right, but when you're done with this video, you can check out the Google Sheet link down below, and you can check out all the other Pokemon buffs and changes. Again, I reimagine and rework every single Pokemon. I also heavily rework the moves in the game, so you can click the move sheet, and it has all of the links and stuff for the categories for the moves. And overall, yeah, everything is super different. To the point where something like this is not really, yes, it is incredibly bulky, but I would not really necessarily define that as broken, at least in an in-game ROM hack type of context. Not to mention it's competing with a Violite Hariyama, who is actually a bit bulkier overall because of a Violite. Not to mention he has great defensive utility in this ability Appetite, and he's actually technically stronger than Iron Hands with Guts. Of course, that's not actually how that works necessarily, because he has to hold the item, and it takes a little bit of damage, whatever. Not to mention he doesn't have dual stab, so I'm not trying to say he's better or anything. It's just that he is definitely on equal footing with his pre-evolved Hariyama. And yes, he does evolve from Hariyama now. That's to give the player more options, more freedom, and also just to be able to actually use the goddamn Paradox Pokemon in the main story, because they're really cool, and I'm sure people would love to use them. Is this music too quiet? Probably a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, shout out to you if you made it to the 2-minute mark, by the way. Leave a comment down below if you did. And if you did make it this far and you're not subscribed already, definitely make sure you do, because it'll be really helpful for my channel. Maybe it's too loud now. I don't fucking know, man. Whatever. This music's so good, though. All right. Iron Hands, yeah. So he's a lot tankier. Again, I believe if you do the exact math, Hariyama is tankier with the Violet. However, Iron Hands doesn't have to hold a Violet to be as tanky as he is. He does have some good resist over Hariyama. So Hariyama resists Ice and Ice and Fire because of Stick Fat. And then Iron Hands resists Steel and Electric because of the Electric typing. So you kind of have the trade-off there. And of course, with Filter, he is significantly tankier than Hariyama, but that's only on super effective hits, Psychic, Fairy, Ground. Is that it? I think that might be it. I think it's Psychic, Fairy. Am I forgetting one? No? Yeah, Psychic, Fairy, Ground. So 3 weaknesses, you take nothing from those. This thing is obviously very difficult to one-shot, although it's actually not as crazy as you might think in a ROM hack like this with like high base power moves flying around. It's still hard to one-shot, don't get it twisted. Like the Turo fight, for example, will be, going crazy with this guy, weakness policy filter type shit, but yeah, so Iron Hand, super, super cool overall. I gave him 2 robotic-themed abilities, Filter and Steelworker. And yeah, I guess I should probably explain more with the stat boost, because I guess some people who really don't know the context of this hack are still going to be thinking it's too much. Again, number 1, he's competing with the Violet Hariyama, and number 2, it's just like, look at him, dude. He's like this big, giant fucking robot guy. Like, he definitely makes sense to have really good Fizz Def, and I also like the Spadef on him because he's got those, like, energy, like it's like flowing throughout his body, and I like interpreting Spadef kind of like that, which is why I like Iron Moth, for example, has like 140 now, that type of deal. I just think it's cool, and I think it makes a lot of sense, and I do try to make my buffs make sense and also just tailor it into what I like. And yeah, if he was like completely unchanged, he wouldn't be bad or anything, but he'd be a lot more boring compared to Hariyama. Here, it's up to you which of the 2 you prefer. I personally think Hariyama's a bit more fun to play around with, but obviously Iron Hands is fucking cool, so it's like, they're both really cool. Yeah, of course, for the player, even Filter Weakness Policy is really good. So you have an exclusive flinch move in Smelling Salts, which is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly powerful. It's an 80 base power priority move, 1 PP, and it flinches, so it's obviously very, very good. Only Hariyama, Iron Hands, and Palmot have access to this, so it's super, super exclusive. Really, really cool move. You've also got, typical Mach Punch, and you've also got your Steelworker Bullet Punch. So Steelworker is really cool on Iron Hand specifically, number 1, because it's a robot, right? I think it's cool giving it that pseudo-steel type stab. But also, it allows them to, like, get that 180 base power heavy slam, for example. So Steelworker is kind of ass on something that isn't steel type in the context of this ROM hack, where every Pokemon's supposed to get 3 good ability slots and whatever. It's kind of mid, like it's not very good. But I think on this specific Pokemon, because of his stat distribution and the move pool, I think specifically giving him that secondary priority in Bullet Punch and then Heavy Slam, Unga Bunga, and also even Hard Press if, for example, if Heavy Slam isn't actually dealing that much damage versus that specific Pokemon, you still have 100 base power Hard Press into Steelworker Bullet Punch. That's a great combo. So I think Silverk is really fucking cool, and I also think it's okay for his abilities to be quote unquote mid. Like they're not actually mid. It's just it's okay for them to be as they are because of the stats, you know. Meanwhile, Hariyama has much more interesting abilities and much more fun and flexible abilities. Hariyama, Iron Hands does not. Quirk Drive is of course very flexible. Actually, a really cool thing you can do with Iron Hands now, by the way, is body press because of how high his Fizz Def is now. You can run max HP Fizz Def or max HP Fizz Def, Assault Vest, whatever bullshit you want to run, right? Depends on the boss fight, of course. So this game is designed to be you're tailoring your Pokemon for each boss fight. So you're changing your EVs up, you're changing your ability up, you're changing your move setup completely just to tailor to whatever fight you're about to fight. Um, so yeah, but body press is obviously very, very, very good on him because he can run max HP Fizz Def and then run that super strong body press, and that's incredibly powerful and makes him incredibly, incredibly bulky. And he also has Fortify, which is essentially Steel type recover, which is really cool. I gave him a bunch of Steel moves for flavor as he is a robot. As for these funny moves, so okay, Recharge is also really good on him because it's essentially healing you by 1/3, but it's giving you that charge effect like Charge does, so that's really strong. Metal Burst is obviously very strong on him. Counter is obviously really nice. Also, that should say level 44, not 45, but doesn't matter. I can quickly fix that on here too. So, Iron Hands, I mean, I don't know, man, he's really fun. I really like the special tech I gave him because, of course, at level 45, you might be thinking he only has 50 special attack. Why would I ever bother with these special moves? Power Glow gives you +3 special attack, 1 PP, Parabolic Charge, and then you have Short Circuit, which I think is such a cool move on him because he's a literal fucking robot. Like, that's so cool. That's 130 base power. It's essentially double shock, right? But it's special. And it always paralyzes as well. So not only is Short Circuit useful because of that, but it also removes your typing. So you can, for example, like, it's just cool to have that tech, right? Like if you're about to take a ground move or something and you want to Short Circuit on that Pokemon, obviously versus a ground type it wouldn't work, but you know, something with a ground move would work. You click Short Circuit, you remove that electric weakness, and the ground weakness, and then you can take the hit even better. And then of course you also get a free para, so you can use that para to then outspeed next turn, although that's a bit harder to justify because it only has 28 base speed. Yes, I did have to lower the speed more for just the raw bulk I wanted to give them. Again, because they are competing with that Hariyama Violet. Although, you know, VGC players are losing their minds. Oh my god, you made him better in Trick Room. What is going on? But of course, Trick Room is not really a huge factor in this. I mean, it's irrelevant. It's a level up move on a good amount of Pokemon. So if you do end up getting one on your team with Teamlocked, then go ahead and go crazy, you know, abuse Trick Room. But it's not necessarily like a guaranteed thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that you're going to get on Teamlocked at all. And of course, this game is balanced around Teamlocked. If you made it 8 minutes in and you have no idea what that is, please, you know, give the description a read. It'll answer a lot of your questions. I would be very surprised if anybody listening this far in doesn't know what that is by now, though. So let me know, you know, in the comments. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix the format, even though most people are probably not looking at the screen at this point. I still like to for a couple people who are. I don't know, he's very straightforward buffs overall. I mean, that filter is super good. Quirk is obviously very good. So you can even use like Fizz Def Quirk, right? Like Fizz Def Booster, or obviously in terrain he goes crazy. You can do manual terrain, which is unironically pretty good in this game because it's versus AI. You know, you're fighting you're not fighting a real human being, right? So having that quirk is really that manual terrain is good. You can also set it up with somebody else, and if you got lucky enough to get, you know, an electric Surgemon on your team, which, you know, there's a good amount of them now. If you have that, then of course it goes even crazier. You know, then you get like the attack quirk drive boost with, like, for example, you can run like banded priority, but then you can't switch moves. Meanwhile, with quirk attack, you can use fake out into smelling salts, into Mach Punch, and just get some crazy kills that way. He's also got first impression. That's a very widespread TM in this game, so that's obviously very strong on him as well for certain situations to tech on there. Tons of cool coverage, all that, you know, good old reliable stuff. He's also got the ability to abuse Quick Claw really well. I said this in the Hariyama video too, but of course, being that he's so damn tanky and strong, but also very slow, he really likes to use the buffed Quick Claw, which, where the fuck did I put that sheet? There it is. It's a single-use consumable item now, so that's really good. You can also use Cuss That Berry on him too, if you're using a Quick Claw on somebody else. Both of those items are very good on Hariyama, or Iron Hands, both of them. Yeah, it's pretty simple, straightforward overall. Besides that, you've got, again, the Parabolic Charge Power Glow. So, yeah, I was trying to say earlier, you could unironically run like a special set for earlier on. Obviously, once later on, it's going to start to fall off. But like at 45, man, like Power Glow, my man has the bulk to pull that off really easily. So you click Power Glow, pretty much, you take whatever hit they want to throw at you, and then you Parabolic Charge at +3 all your health back. Meanwhile, Hariyama on Iron Hands on the physical side only has Drain Punch to heal himself. Meanwhile, on the special side, you got that Parabolic. So there's definitely a use case there. Not to mention you don't get the Swords Dance TM until later on. You would have the Bulk Up TM at this point, but Bulk Up takes more turns to get going. Although I will say +1 attack, 140 is stronger than 50 at +3. I know that, but at least I'm pretty sure. I'm too late to check it right now, but I'm almost positive. Another pro that Iron Hands has over Hariyama, because of course Hariyama is so tanky with the Violite, it has so much more versatility with Appetite and Guts. You might be wondering, isn't it kind of better? And no, of course it's up to you and your own personal preferences and your teammates and all that crap. As always, I put a lot of effort into balancing that. But in this case, another pro that Iron Hands has over Hariyama is that Iron Hands has Volt Switch, and Hariyama has no switch move. So that's really good on something that's this tanky. Getting a slow pivot move is very useful versus the AI. That's pretty much the key of the AI, fighting the AI is like switching, getting your switches right, and that type of stuff. So having switch moves is very, very useful in game, especially now that eject button is only a single use item once again, unlike in Sweltering Sun where it's infinite. So that's really fun. Overall, I mean, it's very straightforward. Of course, he carries over Headlong Rush from Hariyama. He's got his, good old Volt Tackle. Recoil moves in general are very good on him because he's got such a giant HP stat. The recoil he'll take is so minimal. And in general, recoil is very easy to circumvent in game, right? So you've got your typical Wild Charge takedown, 100 base power recoil moves, Hell Thrust, Play Rough for coverage, and of course, then you've got your Volt Tackle later on. Electro Assault and Superpower are very, very powerful. Both of those are physical versions of Draco Meteor, electric and fighting type. So those are really good, either with Quick Claw or just with a straight up, just tank the hit and one-shot them back type deal. So yeah, this guy, you can build him a bunch of different fun ways. Even stuff like Heat Crash and Grass Knot are really good. Grass Knot is now a physical move. If you want to learn more about that, you can watch the move video. I have a timestamp that explains why that is. I believe there's a timestamp specifically for it, but maybe I'm remembering wrong. If not, then I don't know. You can figure it out. It's not that difficult, but yeah, overall, that Smelling Salt's super, super, super strong, very cheesy. Smelling Salt into your Mach Punch, Bullet Punch type deal, and I do like how you can just switch to Steelworker when you need that extra steel oomph, So if you need to get a kill range with Heavy Slam into Bullet Punch or just raw Heavy Slam, you can tack on Steelworker because you're not giving up too much. Obviously, yeah, Booster Energy Quirk is really good, but that's only a 30% boost, and it takes up your item slot. Unless you're running it in terrain, then it goes crazy. But if you're running Booster, it's a 30% boost to your attack, but it's number one, it goes away if you switch out. Number two, it's only 30%, which is obviously very strong coming off a 140 attack. It's probably going to be more than enough most of the time, but there will be some cases where you do need that extra 50% boost. I think specifically for Bullet Punch is also really cool. And again, I just think it's a cool flavor ability. So even if it's not the best thing in the world, I think he can afford to have like I said earlier, okay abilities because of just his raw stats and stuff. So yeah. If you made it to the end, shout out to you. I very much appreciate you. There are a couple more things I could touch on here. Even Metal Sound is great for debuffing. That drops special attack and special defense by -2. That's 1 PP, but it's still a very good debuff move. You can use that into a combo Volt Switch or something, or even a combo Parabolic Charge, whatever you want to do there. So yeah, if you made it to the end, shout out to you. I appreciate it very much. Go watch the Hariyama one if you didn't already. Check out my other videos. Check out the description. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Peace.